Hello and welcome to the Crypto with Kash Cast episode number 6. My name is Duncan Morland. I am your, well, I was going to say lovely host, but that's up to you to determine, not me. And I'm joined by Kashaya Abassi, who runs the Crypto with Kash newsletter. Hello, Kash.
Hi, how you doing? You right?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing today?
Yeah, all good, all good.
Yeah. Okay, well,
I had a bit of the tube was quite busy today, so it's actually very cold today. So I think everyone's just choosing to take the tube rather than to cycle or walk to work today.
Just going round and round on the tube, not leaving.
Yeah.
you need to move to Devon like me, and then there's nobody on the street, so it's fine. Shall we get stuck into the question? First I'll say, if you're watching this and you want us to answer any of your questions, then leave them in the comments below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're interested in joining Crypto with Kash, there'll be a link below this video, and we do appreciate any likes, subscribes, throwing, I don't know,
comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, that's the one. Right, so questions from the community today. Andy asks, he said he nearly invested in a project, I think it was Gala Node, which maybe is something to do with where you can own part of a node. He was asking, are there any other opportunities to invest in crypto nodes? Maybe we should start just explaining what the hell a node is.
Yeah, so essentially a node is used to validate transactions on a blockchain. Of course, different blockchains have different uses for specific nodes, but I think in this case in particular, they would be using the Masternode, as it is known, to validate a lot of the transactions that happen, but a significant amount. So you can have a normal node, but when you have a Masternode, which I think Andy was referring to, you get a larger portion of transactions, which means your computer's doing extra like calculations, and in return you get more rewards. So Masternodes oftentimes cost a lot of money to actually purchase, but if the project gains a lot of adoption, and if it is a project that actually gets a lot of people, for example, in this one, Gala, I think is a game. If the platform becomes very popular, then you can earn significant amounts of money due to having the Masternode.
Do you have to sort of host software on like a server, a laptop to run the node?
Yeah. So again, it depends on the specific project, but some, for example, you need sophisticated software, sophisticated hardware to run the calculations on your computer. Other times it can simply just be a simple application that you can download on any computer. But I feel like, if I'm not mistaken, for Masternodes, you do need a significant sort of quite a rather powerful computer to allow those transactions to be verified through your node.
Yeah. I've been reading a lot about the cryptocurrency Mina.
Yeah.
Which I know that you like. I think you like it anyway.
I've looked into it before. I was trying to get in on the seed round or the early investment, but actually the platform that I was using, it's basically you sign up, and then you get entered into like a random prize draw. And in terms of what I mean by that is, for example, there's 1 million people that sign up. If you're one of the early people in the queue, then you get to invest. If by the time it gets to you, all the funds have run out and already been bought up, then you don't get a chance to invest. And for that one, I was actually unable to invest. But I do like the project. It seems very interesting, and there's a lot of big names back in that project. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
I brought it up because the nodes, from what I understand, like the size of the Mina blockchain is very small.
It's very, very small.
People
exactly.
can sort of run validator nodes and stuff on limited hardware. Like whereas with Bitcoin or whatever, now you need you can't do it on an average PC, can you?
Exactly. You need maybe 2-3 terabytes to run these sort of larger blockchains to actually install it, because you need to install every transaction that's happened in the past before you can start validating the ones in the future. And some of these blockchains are huge, and you need a lot of storage for that. With Mina, I think it's something like less than 100 KB.
Yeah. So maybe that's one for Anne to look into. Are there any other
In terms of masternodes, I think there's a website. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's masternodes.online, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
There's a long list. Of course, there are ones which are, for example, $1,000, for example, but those are for the more obscure projects which don't really have anything going for them. It's like a lottery ticket when you're dealing with those sort of projects. And a lot of times, for example, you could make a big investment, and if the project is not adopted, then you never really make it a return on investment, even if you do have like a masternode.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully that's food for thought, Andy. So the next thing on our list, and I put this on there, is DAO stuff. Because last week I think it was a bunch of crypto hooligans
enthusiasts,
part of the US Constitution. Could you explain what happened, and then we talk about what a DAO is?
So a DAO is basically like a decentralized autonomous organization. So it could be a group of people, it could be 2 people, it could be a lot larger. And essentially what they do is they run an organization in a decentralized manner. So everyone gets a vote in what decisions are made. So this group in particular, they realized that one of the, I think, 10 or 11 copies of the US Constitution was about to get auctioned at, in one of the largest auction houses. And what they decided to do was basically pool their funds together so they could actually buy this this actual constitution, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Sotheby's have said that they will start accepting Ethereum as a currency.
It was on the list, I think, of currencies.
Exactly. I think that might have been the first time. If not, then they're going to start doing it from now onwards. They I think raised over $40 million, $43 million in a matter of weeks, which is no small feat. But what happened in the end was, due to the transparency that you have with blockchain, you can tell exactly how much money they raised. So what happened was, on the day, a billionaire knew that they had 43 million. So I think he bid 43.5 million, or maybe just $500,000 above that, because he knew that they can't bid any higher than what they have. And the billionaire won it in the end.
Not such a great transparency on the blockchain not working great.
Exactly. But there are like projects out there that allow you to, like, for example, pull your funds together and then hide the amounts from other users. Only when you, for example, you have a certain code, you can give it to, for example, the auction house. They can, verify how much funds you have, and that the funds will be hidden from other people. Yeah. In fact, one of the projects, this week's project, actually allows something like that.
Nice segue there.
Yeah, exactly. It was coincidental, but very convenient at the same time.
Yeah. No, it's important, because that would have solved this problem. They would have been able to make the bids and prove that they had the money without needing to show that they had 43 million to invest. But could we just, so a DAO is basically a group of people?
They could be from anywhere in the world, but they essentially have voting rights in terms of what they want the DAO to do.
And what does it stand for? Sorry, just before you.
Decentralized autonomous organization.
Yeah. Okay.
And for example, there are, seeing how successful, if you want to call it that, the US Constitution DAO was, there are people who are saying now, okay, we should pool our funds together, buy an island, for example, or buy schools, or there's loads of different things you can do, which is very interesting.
Buy
or
a school and then
buy out a university, or buy a theater, or I don't know, a stadium, and just name it after the DAO. That's the thing. It's
buy Elon Musk. If we all pitch our money in, we might be able to afford Elon Musk.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
Can you have DAOs for things that aren't financial? So this was obviously a money raising thing. So could you use a DAO just to a group of people make decisions about something, to vote on something, or does it always have to have a financial?
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to have money involved per se, but I feel like a lot of the times, because you are the way you buy into these DAOs is by putting some money on the line, then you get a proportional amount of voting rights in terms of how much money you put in. So a lot of times money is involved, but I do see, for example, non-profits popping up using that same sort of concept as well.
And DAOs have their own crypto tokens generally.
It depends. There are projects which are accepting any sort of cryptocurrency. It could be Ethereum, it could be Bitcoin. It could a treasury could be run by like a DAO, for example, and a treasury could contain a bunch of basket of coins.
Yeah, I got one more question.
Yeah, sure.
It seems like a lot of projects, crypto projects, seems to have an aspect of a DAO, a decentralized voting system. But it almost seems like there's a spectrum where, like, so some crypto projects, a company might be in control of it, and people can be part of the DAO and kind of, their votes are listened to, but ultimately the company decides. Whereas there's other crypto projects where it almost seems like the DAO and the decentralized voting has almost complete control of what can happen to the project. Is that?
Yeah, that's definitely true. I feel like that's why different DAOs have different rules and different governing systems. I think it ultimately comes down to the projects that you choose you want to be involved in. If you see that, for example, the idea is that the project will be run in a decentralized way, but there will always be entities which have perhaps more control over the project because they are the ones who developed it. But as time goes on, a lot of projects have said, okay, we're going to be centralized while we're in the growing stage. But once we get to a point where, okay, we're happy with what the project looks like, then we're going to start decentralizing by allowing more voting, more people to, join the governance system.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm wrong about this, but I think a project called Tornado Cash, the developers, there was some kind of ritual or something where they completely sort of revoked their control over it, so it's just running on its. I don't know if that means that they can no longer change anything about it, but
I think if they might not be able to change that specific project if they do that, but then they could also fork it, copy and paste the code, and then just make any changes that they would like. Or if any members from the community, if the project is open source, they can just copy and paste the code and edit it.
I did see a lot of people have been copying that platform for all the different side chains and stuff. I don't know whether you need permission to do that, but yeah, people are doing it.
Yeah, it depends on the project. Some have hidden their code, some are open sourced to allow other developers to make improvements or adjustments how they wish.
Yeah, okay, that's DAOs covered until something else crazy happens next week, and then we got to talk about that. I wanted to talk to you about OHM, which is Olympus DAO, and Time, which is another crypto for Wonderland Time, which is something I came across where there seems to be these platforms seem to offer huge percentage yields, and there's some kind of treasury. It seems crazy. Like the yields are very high in crypto anyway, sort of double digits for a lot of the coins, if not more, if you get more advanced with stuff. But this is like, I think 60,000,
88,000, 90,000.
And I mean, I think the Olympus yields have come down now, but the Wonderland ones are still extremely high. And there's like you were talking about, there's forks of these projects.
So Time, if I'm not mistaken, is actually a fork of Ohm, but Ohm is on Ethereum, and Time is just a fork of Ohm, but on Avalanche.
Okay.
These are projects I've actually been looking into myself.
Right.
I have this thing where I tend to dismiss projects if they're making outlandish claims. Then I have this thing where I immediately dismiss them.
Yeah.
But of course, then I actually start researching, for example, Ohm, and I've been researching more into Time. I'm not up to the point where I think, okay, I'm 100% confident to say it's not, for example, a Ponzi, which a lot of people say it is, because the way the yields are generated is, so for example, you buy discounted Time tokens, but you have to vest your investment for 5 days, for example. So say, for example, Time is $8,000. They sell it to you for $7,600, but you have to keep it in your wallet for 5 days. You can't sell it yet. And from that, essentially what the project does is they take some of their profits, they add it into the treasury, and then they use the excess profits to pay the yield that they're like, offering users.
Mm.
And the way it works is like, if I'm not mistaken, with time, over 90% of users have staked their coins on the project, because that's how
I
you
think I saw
generate the yield.
that as well. Yeah, because they said they were using like game theory or something to expect people to stay in the project.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole idea is you buy and then you stake, you hold on to the coins for the long term, because due to the way like the interest is compounded, you're essentially earning exponential interest in the long term. So at first, it might not be significant amounts. Again, we're talking about 1 or 2% a day, which is still crazy to think about. But in the long term, your money, this is like 88,000% APY. So that's like something like 800 times your money or even more.
Yeah.
I don't know how sustainable that is. But there are these projects coming out, every day. It's worth looking into. There's more information coming out every day. So there's a lot of different theories going around as to whether it is legit. Well, I would say for Time, for example, is backed by one of the prominent member in the crypto community. His name is Danielle. He's launched a lot of successful projects, and that's why there's a lot of confidence in Time, which is what a lot of people are saying is a reason as to why it's not a scam.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Trust, is he called Danielle?
Danielle, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess one of the risks with that is the value of Time would plummet below the yield you're generating on it, even though the yield is extremely high. That would be the main risk.
Yeah, exactly. So even, for example, if it's $8,000 today, it could drop by 90% back down to like $1,000 or so. And any investment that you've made has dropped 90%. So even if you do earn the 8,000, or I think you said 88,000% gains on it, then that might not even take it up to where it was before. But because the percentage yield can change over time as well, there's a lot of variables. That's why it's like a developing sort of concept that no one knows exactly what it does, but there is potential in it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe we'll be talking about that again in the next few weeks and months. Okay, so quite a hard question next from Marco. He asks, how do you judge if a coin is over or undervalued, / what its future price could be? I guess because, like I talked about Mina crypto earlier, like I think the project looks really strong and stuff, but I don't really know how to gauge whether its current price is cheap or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like when it comes to valuing projects, there's two sides. There's one side who say, oh, every crypto project is perpetually undervalued because they see the space getting much, much bigger than it is today. And of course, as time has shown us, there are elements of truth to that. The crypto markets just get bigger and bigger. Despite the bear markets that we see, in the long term, they are getting bigger and bigger. And then there's people on the other side who say, okay, a lot of these projects, even in the top 100, are overvalued as they are right now. There's not that many users actually using these protocols. Since everything is inflated, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of these coins are ranking where they are. So it's very difficult to answer that question, to be honest with you. I think ultimately it comes down to using these projects yourself, seeing which ones offer the best user experience, the cheapest fees, the fastest transactions, what ecosystems are attracting the highest quality projects. And maybe you can gauge it for yourself like that, but I don't think there are any sort of like specific measurements that you can use to determine whether they are undervalued or overvalued.
Yeah, so it's less mathematical. It's more you're sort of saying this project has the potential to, I don't know, take on this part of the economy or do this or bring in this.
Exactly, yeah.
And you don't really necessarily need to say the price is going to grow to this level. You're just saying, I think this project can grow. And the token will grow alongside it.
Exactly. So, for example, one way you can determine is if there's an existing project out there that's ranked, for example, in the top 10, and this new project that you found has a stronger team, for example, has better tokenomics, has faster transactions, cheaper fees, for example, and it's ranked much, much lower, you have to ask yourself, okay, first of all, why? And then you have to ask yourself, okay, do I see potential in this project one day getting to there? If these are where the competitors are, why is this project down here? Is it time for it to invest? Is it because other people have not yet found this project, And if you do your research and you gain some conviction, then you can, make good profits like that if the project does end up going up much higher.
Yeah, I guess Solana was a good example of that. Like the only thing that I thought was holding it back was it didn't have the same diverse ecosystem as Ethereum, but that is quickly changing, I guess.
Exactly, and the coding language that Solana uses was different to Ethereum. So a lot of projects can easily, if they are EVM compatible, Ethereum virtual machine. What that means, you can essentially copy and paste the code from Ethereum onto these new projects, for example, Avalanche. But whereas with Solana, because it uses a different coding language, you can't copy and paste. But that being said, a new company has come out and said, okay, we're going to bring EVM compatibility to Solana as well, which would allow every project essentially on Ethereum to port over to Solana. So I think that was one of the barriers to wider adoption for Solana. And now that's been removed, I think we're going to see a lot more growth for that project.
Yeah, I think I keep seeing EVM, was it Ethereum virtual machine, mentioned in different projects, like again with Mina, it's being mentioned there as well. We did talk about it on the last podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be a huge theme going forward because it just allows you to run Ethereum's projects on basically any other blockchain, doesn't it?
Yeah. And these other blockchains tend to be cheaper and faster than Ethereum is at the moment.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about layer 2 on Ethereum next week or something. Because right, so did have one more question, and it's a fun one. And I think who asked it? I think it might have been Andy again, but apologies if not. I haven't got it written down. But he asked, are there any projects you nearly invested in but then didn't, and are kicking yourself for not investing in them?
Yeah, to be honest, it actually happens a lot. For example, there are projects like, as we were just talking about, being overvalued and undervalued. For example, Axie Infinity, I saw when it was around, I think, $5 or $6. And at the time, when I saw it, on the day, it was up like 30, 40%. I was like, oh, I've missed the train on this one. But then it just kept going higher. I was like, okay, when it drops, I'm going to buy in. But then it never got to the points where I actually placed my trades, and I just missed that. And I think now it's at around 130, 140. I stopped looking because I was like, okay, I've completely missed this one. And it does hurt. But the more time you spend in this, ecosystem, you learn to just let go of your losses and let go of the ones that you've missed and just focus on finding the next one, which can happen at any moment,
Yeah. Like if you're anything like me, you miss all of them, so it's fine.
It happens. You just have to look for that one project that gives you crazy gains.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was a nice fun question to finish on. Thank you for your time this evening, Kash.
Thank you.
I'm sure you need to chill out and pretend you're not on a London tube train anymore.
That's all right. I'm all good now. All good.
And thank you for everyone that's listening. Again, if you've got any questions you want us or topics you want us to talk about, you can leave it in the comments on YouTube or contact us. There'll probably be details below if you're listening on one of the podcast sites. And we appreciate any likes if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want more. And
thank you. You've been a lovely host.
Oh, cheers. We'll soon be top influencers. And
soon.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me turn this off.